Hi guys, Devil XYZ, and I know it's been a while since I've done one of these good and bad segments, but getting back into it, and I decided for this time to go with Twisted Metal Small Brawl. Yeah, so weirdly, this actually came out after Twisted Metal Black, so kind of odd why they decided to go back to a PlayStation 1 game for this. And I remember one of the early development titles on this was Twisted Metal Kids, because it was really more of a kids-based Twisted Metal game. So let's see how it holds up today. Well, for the good of Twisted Metal Small Brawl, uh, really not many good things really come to mind, but I guess for one thing is probably the weapons. You have a good variety of weapons. You have the traditional fire missile, homing missile, power missile, and then you also have some new ones like the ricochet bomb, the napalm, and the Roman candle. Yeah, and then along with that, they also include a pretty good amount of the special moves, for before, like the shield attack, freeze missile, rear fire, jumping. It's all there. It plays pretty much the same as a traditional Twisted Metal game. Second, I would probably say it's good is the probably the decent roster size. I think there's like 16 cars. I think. I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah. But you have your traditional cars. You have Sweet Tooth. You have Outlaw. You have Hammerhead, Darkside, Mister Slam. Yeah, I mean it's the same cars, but it's just all in RC form, and also the fact that all the contestants are actual school children, and then the mastermind behind everything, Calypso, he's actually the school bully. Yeah, but it still plays out like the same typical story. Going through a contest. If you win the contest, Calypso grants you a wish, and I'll go for the third thing. The third good thing about it is probably the levels themselves. There are a good amount of levels, and they kind of range anywhere from something that's small to wide open areas. And along with that, though, the the stages themselves, they have a lot of good variety in it. I mean, typically we're talking about like really spacious areas, like in a typical home setting or like a small base setting, like being on the playground or being in a kitchen or in a mini golf course, whatever. But they also have like obstacles that you need to traverse, also environmental hazards that you need to avoid. So it kind of adds a little bit of strategy as to how exactly you go about traversing the area and then taking out the rest of the enemies. Well, for the bad of Twisted Metal Small Brawl, one thing immediately I can say is the drop in frame rate or something like that, because this game plays pretty slow compared to any other Twisted Metal game, which I'm not exactly sure why that is, considering most of them have been on the PlayStation 1, so I mean, you kind of thought it would play out around the same as any of the other games. But for some reason, like this game's having a hard time. It's like chugging along, trying to keep up, and the processing speed or something. And it's not a huge problem, but it's just not really pretty to look at. And the second bad I would say would probably have to be the sluggish cars. I don't know. To me, it seemed like all the RC cars were pretty sluggish when it comes to like turning or steering, or even just driving in general. Which is kind of odd because some of them say they do have good handling, and some of them are not as bad as others, but it's just overall most of them just kind of felt sluggish. Just having a hard time really controlling the cars themselves. And to me, it kind of feels like there might also be a little bit of input lag too when it comes to doing certain type of actions. And then the third bad, this is kind of more just my opinion on it. I just don't really care too much about the whole childish design on this Twisted Metal game itself. I mean, typically when you think of Twisted Metal, I mean, you don't really consider kids, honestly. I mean, it was kind of an ambitious thing to really come up with for Twisted Metal, but really, Twisted Metal is more meant for a slightly mature audience, and that's kind of how it is. We kind of have more mature themes built into this game. That's why the latest Twisted Metal games are mainly M-rated games. For the mostly mature, because you're kind of dealing with like convicted felons and stuff like that. I mean, it's just kind of odd. And I mean, like if they had a Mortal Kombat game and that was like an E-rated game. It just really wouldn't make much sense, honestly. So yeah, it just kind of throws you off. This whole little idea of having a kids-based Twisted Metal game. Well, for improvement's sake, I would say, well, one thing immediately is actually increasing the speed in this game to make it go a lot faster. I mean, I don't know, would I be maybe enhancing the engine used to make this game or whatever, or maybe it would have been better off to actually have this game on the PS2 instead of on the PlayStation 1. I mean, it's still kind of baffling why this game was released after Twisted Metal Black, but still taking place on the PlayStation 1, so it just didn't really make much sense about that. But I figure if they could have done something like that, then the game would play out a lot smoother, and also even improve the graphics. And then second improvement I could say would have to be, well, if I wish they could just go into a more mature setting, instead of having this whole school thing. Or if they are going to have the school related thing, maybe up it up to like a high school level, maybe have the kids be like high school students or whatever. Maybe have the Calypso being the principal or whatever. That would be something, It'd be more closer to a mature based Twisted Metal game than having this elementary school style game. Well, overall, I say Twisted Metal Small Brawl is I guess, a unique game. A little bit on the obscure side. I mean, it's obviously different compared to any of the other Twisted Metal games, but it still plays the same as a Twisted Metal game. If you can overlook the poor graphics, the cutesy art style, the whole school setting, and then if you can forgive the whole slowness issue, I mean, it still plays out pretty well. And I'm hoping maybe if they were to maybe ever re-release this in the future, I don't know. I mean, maybe make some speed adjustments and improve the graphical quality of it. I would say maybe a little bit better of a game. But overall, I would give this game a final score of a 6 out of 10, an above average game, just a slightly above average game. And I would say maybe give it a shot. Maybe you can try to find a good used copy as of right now. I mean, I found mine for about $5, on eBay, so it's really not too expensive at this point. So I mean, give it a shot. It's a interesting gem, and maybe something just to fill up your Twisted Metal collection. Well, this is Devil Hunter XYZ, and until next time.